Hello again, and thank you for choosing Streamline Inspections. In this video, we're going to take a look at performing inspections on the iPad device. You can see that I'm on the login screen. I've already got my username and password entered. You will receive your username and password from a Streamline representative or from your supervisor or advisor. Once you enter your username and password, go ahead and click the login button. The login is automatically going to sync your device to the cloud and pull down any new inspection or occupancy information in the cloud or that's assigned to your device. You can see after logging in, I've got a sync at the top with a 0 in it. As I make changes on my device or complete inspections or start inspections or update things on my device, that number is going to change. If I complete 10 inspections, it's going to show that I have a 10 in there and that I'll have to sync my device. The inspections stay on your device until they are synced to the cloud. So it's important that you click the sync button. I can go ahead and click it now. It's going to say preparing sync. It'll sync down any new information or any changes made in the cloud, and you can sync at any time. As long as the device has connectivity, either via Wi-Fi or cellular network, you will be able to sync the device. You can see that over on the right next to that, I have a sort function. So it allows me to sort by drive order, by occupancy name, by template type, by status, or by email or by address. The most common would be sorting by occupancy name or by address. I like to change mine to sort alphabetically by occupancy name. You can also see that down below I have a date range. So I can select a date range on my device, a start date and end date. So if I only wanted to look at a week at a time, I can do that. You can also see that today's date is selected, and any date that has a dot underneath it is indicative of inspections being assigned to that date. So if I clicked on that date, it would automatically filter that to show only inspections assigned. I also have a search feature. This search feature is a wildcard search feature, so I can search by occupancy name or I can search by an address. So if I wanted to, in my occupancy search, if I wanted to type in 1010, it's going to filter out all of the properties that have 1010 either in the occupancy name, the address, or the zip code. You can see that I have 1010 2nd Avenue listed in here, and it automatically filtered that. I can go ahead and click the X. It'll clear my filter and minimize my keyboard, and it'll show me everything. To enter into an inspection, I can either click on the map. So if I click on the map, it automatically centers it. It shows me the occupancy name, the date that it's scheduled, who it was completed by, and since this is not completed, it will say NA. This is an FCIP or fire company inspection, and the status is scheduled. You can also see that down below, I have filters that I can turn on to show inspections, re-inspections, completed inspections, incomplete inspections, or inspections that are overdue. These icons on the map are going to change based on the status. Over on the left-hand side, I can also click on any of these. If I wanted to click on Test Prevention Office, I click on that, and it's automatically going to center my map on the Test Prevention Office. So I can either use my map, or I can use the scroll bar on the left-hand side to find my way. If I want driving directions to this location, I can click on the arrow, and it's going to say, would you like to get driving directions from your current location to this address? If I select Get Directions, it's automatically going to route me. You have to have cellular network enabled to do this to allow navigation. I can hit Cancel here, and you can see I can scroll down on the scroll bar on the left-hand side. I can scroll up and down. This will show you all the inspections that are assigned to your device. I can also, if I don't want to view this anymore, I can click anywhere on the map to minimize this. I can also change my map to a hybrid map or strictly a satellite map. The standard view is most preferred. Up in the upper right-hand corner, you see I have a hamburger menu. I can select the hamburger menu, and I can toggle between properties and hydrants. I can also add an inspection in the field. So if I add an inspection, I can click the plus sign. It allows me to add an inspection in the field. You do not need to have connectivity to add an inspection in the field. But it is recommended that if you do add an inspection in the field, you sync immediately to push the new information back up to the cloud and pull down any new information assigned to that property. So to complete this process, I would select my template. In this case, I'll select FCIP. I'll select my date. I can select today. The inspector We'll pull up the entire list of inspectors. So I can scroll through my list of inspectors and I can enter any notes. I can also, my next step is to select next, and I'll click on search. It's gathering my location. I can also hit the search feature to show me all of the occupancies in my database. I would go through and select an occupancy in my database. I would click next and complete that. For the sake of training and demonstration purposes, I'm not going to add a new inspection on my device. So to cancel out of here, I would click back to step 1, click cancel, and it's going to remove the add an inspection process. To enter an inspection, I'm going to go ahead and select my FCIP inspection, and I'm going to go ahead and click view inspection. This is going to load my inspection information. This is the property details screen on the inspection on my device. A couple of things of note on this screen. I do have my occupancy name, which happens to be SLI test property, my property ID, which is you're not able to modify on the device, my inspector, my inspection type, responsible party, inspection notes, property use, mixed use, which you can see is blank, property ownership, which you can see is blank, because there's no data entered into my database for those items. If you see blank fields, our recommendation is go ahead and fill those out. The more information we collect and an occupancy contains, the better information we can potentially push to operations for pre-planning. Okay, you can also see that I have building information, building status, structure type, above ground, below ground. The only field on this screen that is absolutely required is this responsible party. You'll be able to see that. To put this in edit mode, I need to click begin inspection. This is a common issue. This is a common question for new users. They start using the application and don't realize that you have to click begin inspection to put the inspection in edit mode. So I'll go ahead and click begin inspection. You can see that it changes my screen. It unlocks all of the fields and it puts me in edit mode. You must have a responsible party. This does have a responsible party in this box. If I click on responsible party, it's going to show me a list of responsible parties. Okay, you can see that denoted by the red fields. If I click on responsible party, it's going to give me a list of everybody that I have listed as the responsible party, and you can change that. This list is coming from the contacts field, so if you click on responsible party and you have no contacts in this list, it's because you do not have contacts completed in your contacts tab. If I want to fill in my mixed use, I go ahead and select mixed use, and it's going to give me my mixed use. Okay, property ownership, these are coming from lookup tables that are administered in the administrative database. Okay, I can update all of this information on the screen. Our recommendation is fill in as much information as you possibly can. You have a notes field for property notes. We also have an area for detectors and extinguishment systems. Anything that you put into inspection notes in this box has the ability to go on the inspection form, even if there are no violations found. So if you don't find any violations, but you would like to make recommendations to the owner or the property owners, you can enter inspection notes here. That will actually show up on the inspection form. Okay, moving on to contacts. You can see that I have 3 contacts entered in my system. I can scroll through those contacts and verify information. Okay, if you need to edit contact information, click on Edit Contact. This will put this in edit mode. You can see that I have toggles for owner, occupant, emergency, and should receive reports. If you have additional contacts that would also like to receive the violation or no violation report, please enter them in and mark them that they should receive reports. You have to also mark an owner, occupant, or emergency contact. Okay. To receive reports via email, there has to be an email address entered. If there's no email address entered, it will go in, the reports will automatically go into a print queue in the administrative side of the Streamline Inspections program outside of the iPad application, and they will be allowed to be printed. So please make sure that if you can collect email addresses, please enter email addresses. To get out of edit mode, I click on done. It'll take me out of edit mode. If I want to add a new contact, I click add new contact or add another contact. Scrolling down, if I click on history, this is going to show me all the historical documents that I have on this property, including any general documents, any floor plans, and if I click on these, it's going to load these. This is also where I can show previous inspection reports. Okay, scrolling down further, I get into my checklist items. My first checklist item is inspection information. Okay, you can see that I am in edit mode. These are inspections. These items are not necessarily required, but this is important for billing. Okay, so general inspection information. If this is red, this is going to be a required field. If it's not red, it will not be a required field. Okay. Scrolling down further, I have outside common information, and I can see by this arrow this is a nested form. So when I click on outside common information, my first item is access and fire lanes. By default, I have all of my violations set to pass. The only thing you need to change is if I find a violation. If there's not a 20-foot width required, I would change that to no. You can see that it automatically references my fire code. I can click on that, and it's going to open up my fire code. If it was repaired on site, I would mark this repaired on site. By default, my reinspection date is set for 30 days. If I needed to change that, I can change that here for each individual violation. By default, you should not have to change the date for reinspection. You can see that I'm using the 2013 California Fire Code. The code is referenced here. Here's the description and the comments. I can scroll up and down and actually read the code. Okay, there's nothing I need to do here. This is only if I want to reference the code, mark it repaired, or change the reinspection date. I do, however, need to enter notes. Notes are required, so notes go here. You would make a note regarding this violation, what you found. Click done. You can also see that I have the ability to add photos, although photos are not required. To add a photo on your device, I would click add photo. I can take a photo directly from my iPad device. So if I click take photo, it's going to ask me, would you like to use the last photo taken? Would you like to choose from your photo library, or would you like to take a photo? The most common answer is to take a photo, and it will automatically place it in this violation. For the sake of demo and training purposes, I'm just going to click cancel and click done. Now this is a violation. I've completed this violation, and I can show that I have one violation marked down below. The process to complete the entire inspection is to go through all of your forms. You can see that my next is fire hydrants and fire sprinkler systems. So again, I would go through my entire form. Make sure I read all of the questions, check any violations that I found. Same thing with storage outside. Make sure I go through the entire form, check anything that I have issues with. To back out of this form, I click on the little back arrow at the top, and I would go down to my next form, which is general. Okay, fire resistive assemblies and construction. So I would go through this form. I would click on general, go through my checklist. Click on decorative materials, complete my checklist. To back out, I need to back out. You can see that I continue to go through my checklist forms. These are all going to be very similar. Electrical and mechanical, exit commons, fire protection common, hazardous materials, permits, and systems. If I click on systems, it takes me into the fire alarm systems, my backup power systems, fire department access and building systems. This is where the system allows me to add pre-plan information on my fire alarm systems, backup power department access and building systems. So to do that, I would click on plus. If I needed a backup power system, I would click on plus to add a backup power system. You can see there's required fields. I need to add the backup power type, the fuel type, the transfer type, if there's a permit issued, yes or no, what my description is, and then if I wanted to link any chemicals or tanks with this. Maybe I had diesel fuel on site, and maybe there was an underground or above ground diesel fuel tank. Okay. Since I'm not going to add this, I have to click on delete. It says, are you sure you want to delete this new record? Yes, and it will automatically back you out. Same thing with fire department access. If I click on plus, maybe I want to enter that the FDC, my description, I can enter FDC. I can enter comments. I can also track on any of my Knox inventory. So if you have, or your key box inventory. So if I have key boxes, I can select plus, and it'll give me a list of key boxes. I can enter those here. To back out of here, I just click save and back, and it shows me that I've added an FDC. Same thing with building systems. If I want to add building system, these are all based on your lookups. If you find anything that's not in your lookups, please contact your department administrator. They can add and change lookups for you. To back out of here, I just click back. I'm at the very bottom of my checklist. So to complete my process or to complete my inspection, I need to obtain an inspector signature. So I click inspector signature. The inspector needs to sign. It automatically pulls up the inspector name. So I would sign using your finger or a stylus. I also need a customer signature. So the customer signs. I click on who the customer was that signed. I'll enter that customer name below, and you click submit. If I try to complete that without assigning the signatures, hit complete inspection. It says inspector signature is required. I hit OK. I'll have to go back in and complete the inspector signature. By clicking on more options, I can also enter a no entry inspection, which allows me to enter inspections if I made an appointment or we showed up to do an inspection and I was not able to gain entry. I can enter a no entry inspection. I can click add no entry. Make the reason that we were not able to gain entry. Maybe the person did not show up. Maybe the doors were locked. Maybe there's no knocks, things of that nature. And I would click save and back. I don't want to make a no entry inspection, so I'm going to click delete and back out of there. If the building was vacant, I can also mark the building as vacant. Please note that if you mark a building as vacant, it's going to ask you to confirm, and if you confirm, it's going to ignore your checklist, ignore any of the violations that you created, and mark the building vacant. So please do not mark the building vacant unless you're absolutely sure that the building is vacant, because it will change the building status and remove any of the inspection requirements that are already assigned. So I'm just going to click no. I can minimize this. I can review the violations. If I click on violations, I can review the violations. If I click on the violation, it'll take me back to the form where that violation exists. I can review this violation with the occupant or owner prior to completing the inspection. Again, to complete the inspection, I'm going to collect both signatures, click complete inspection. It's going to allow me to sync. If I need to back out of here for any reason without completing the inspection, I'm going to click save and stop editing. It takes it out of edit mode. I'm then allowed to go back, and you can see that in the upper left-hand corner of my screen, I have one item to sync. It changes my icon on my screen to incomplete. So it's in process, it's incomplete, and it allows me to sync this. So I do not need to complete an inspection before syncing. I can stop in the middle of an inspection if I need to. I can go back to it. The recommendation is if you have to stop in the middle of inspection, please do so. Sync as soon as possible. So I'll click sync. It's going to push that information back up to the cloud, and it's going to import any new occupancy or inspection information that's assigned to my device. We hope this quick video was helpful. If you have any questions, please contact your administrator, your advisor, or the support team at Streamline Automation Systems. Thank you again.